maybe. Oh, really? Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Oh, my friend. I think we have found the way of doing this in such a way that we can make it possible. So, okay, let's try to proceed with this. Okay, hello, my friends. Today we are going to talk a little bit in English about a good and a nice matter that I was, and I really, in fact, I'm working professionally. That is projects. Projects are really important for the world. In fact, all the, let's say, investments needs to know about projects. The only thing that, of course, there are a lot of let's say nowadays with the COVID, it's really important this question in order to have really good professionals managing that this kind of business that is not so easy because you have to imagine just to have money, then you have to reach certain level of some product of some service, and you have to develop from nothing by means of materials, by means of companies, in a time, and running a lot of risks. So it's going to it's not so easy stuff. So at the end, there are a lot of literature about that. We have, for example, book about projects in Spanish, but this is a first view of the project what is consist of. In general, all the books that you can find are more or less quite similar. Maybe some of them are more specific, more technical, and other are talking about the documentation that you generate, how to manage all of this. So here, for example, these two books are regarding project management, and it was I remember I wrote this. Okay, 2003, so it was in August. You can imagine, it was oof, almost 15 years ago. Okay, and then what more can I tell you? The science of the project consists of, okay, every project has a has a concept to develop, then it's the project itself when you do the erection, do the development of the project, the erection, installation, whatever. And then it's the end of the project when you share the final result to the client. So it's something that is very logical, very easy to understand initially. But of course, there is a lot of science in the real world to understand, and also a lot of cases to understand, because projects, the main problem is that is about money, it's about time, it's about opportunity, it's about risks, about different cultures, about lack of resources sometimes, always we can say, and also is talking about bad initial specifications. Normally, one of the most important problems in the projects are related to the lack of good initial specification. So the requirements are very, very poor defined. So this always for a source of troubles. And okay, even the science is talking about that. Is always very common, this kind of thing. Normally, another big problem is that the people that is working as project manager, sorry, is not participating from the very beginning in the project. So it causes also a enormous difficulty for the project manager to know what is about the business behind the project. And it's really, really important to know the business behind the project. What part in the project, what part of the business is going to be solved by the project, in order to try to save time, sometimes money when the difficulties arrive, because it's all the time happening that There are plenty risks that can delay time, increase cost, divert from the original scope supply, poor quality, unfulfilled specifications, whatever. So all this package, if the project management has a deep knowledge of about the business behind, is very helpful for him to take a lot of decisions during the project. So what more can I tell you? Okay, there are the official title that is there are many business schools and project schools, but one of the most famous certificates you can get is the Project Management Institute certificate institute that shares that certificates the project management professional. This is a very good tool, of course. This is classic projects. Think, okay, when we talk about this kind of traditional projects, we are thinking on cost, how to build cost, time, resources, quality, client satisfaction, scope, okay, all this. But the question is, nowadays we are well, not nowadays exactly, but from let's say 20 years ago, projects are, especially in the computer world, the software development needed to develop some kind of other way around. Let's say that the triple constraint that is based on time, scope, and cost has changed a little bit, because let's say that the world was changing so high, so fast, that at the end it was really necessary that the project management change the project in such a way that new requirements were included along the way. So this is something that was very difficult to develop, and there are a new branch in the project management that is called Agile Method, that is based on that. So let's say that you fix the cost, you fix let's say the time, but then the scope depends. So you are working all the time, but if it is necessary to make some changes, then you make changes, and that's very good for the client. So, but then if we go further on and we think about what happens with this kind of projects that can be, okay, maybe is innovation project. Let's imagine that we have an innovation project. Innovation project has a lot of uncertainties, so it's not so easy to know what are really the requirements, because sometimes we have to discover even that is a innovation project needs to discover the scope sometimes. So in this let's say that the classic theory has these limitations, but is of course for people that is studying and introducing in that projects needs to know, to have this basis, because it's like knowing mathematics is a good basis. Then of course you will finally use MATLAB, or you will program in another language, but the basis is really important to have a good domain of that. But what about these methods? For example, here in innovation, I was referring to this book that is really nice book. It's a book that is talking about this, let's say, new area that we are living now, in which the projects are not anymore classic, are based on innovation, changing every time. So it's really, really important in this moment to have a deep knowledge of the business you are doing the project for, because that project is going to help the client, but at the end, the client is going to be has to be satisfied, has to receive value all the time. So this kind of project needs value driven all the time, because it's not that you finally give the client fulfillment of cost, scope, and time. No, you have to give him value all the time, him or her. Sorry. Okay, so at the end, if we consider the classic method, I would suggest that you could use, let's say, this PMP book. Honestly, this PMP book is very hard to read, and I prefer to this. Of course, you have to do some effort with this, but I recommend you highly to purchase the PMP exam preparation, because this is a second reading book. You can, let's say, consider that this book is included in this other book. This book even has more pages. In this book, you are going to read carefully all the contents, and you will do all the different exercises. Highly recommended. With this document, in fact, this was the one I used when I passed the exam 4 years ago, but this is the new one that, of course, I like to have this always updated to know all about these things. So, my friends, these are my recommendations for today. So I hope that it was a little or quite a lot useful for you. It was just an introduction. So please, if you have any comment, you can do in the video, in the comments, and I would appreciate that, because I think that with this kind of feedback, I maybe in the next videos I could attend your questions or whatever. Okay, my friends, remember that I have a channel, Daily Strategies, that you can visit and see my videos. I'm sorry, because the videos are in Spanish, but are subtitled in English, so you can understand, I think, that quite well. So, my friends, see you soon and have a good day. Goodbye.